Hello and welcome to the second part in this look back at Tomb Raider Anniversary. This is a new feature where you can dodge and headshot your enemy. It's an instant kill. I think my battery died here because it's taken a long time to move on. Yeah, I think that's what it is because the menu thing come up. I like the idea of the feature, but I felt it kind of takes a little bit of the challenge out of it because it's so easy to pull off. I mean, there have been a few instances. I think in the next level I have a bit of trouble with it, so it's not easy. But I feel if there was like more of a difficult aspect to it, it might be a more challenging thing. But I think anything with a one-shot kill, it does take the challenge out of it. I was planning to get the next quick look back at video, which would have been of Tomb Raider 3. Done before Christmas. I was playing it before Christmas, so that was the plan, but I kind of got busy and forgot about it, so I'll try and get that done as soon as possible. For those who haven't been watching any of my Tomb Raider videos, what I'm trying to do is do a back history of all the Tomb Raider games leading up to the release of the new Tomb Raider, which I think is, I know it's in March, but I can't remember the date. For some reason I've got the 27th in my head, but that don't seem right, but I could be wrong. I will look that up for the next video. So I'm pretty much going to cover the main Tomb Raider games. I'm not going to bother, well, I don't have the PC ones and I don't have any of the Game Boy Advance ones, but from what I hear they weren't great games. I did have one of them, I can't remember the name of it now, but I had one of them on Game Boy Color. It was quite an interesting game, but it wasn't really amazing. So I'm just really going to focus on the main games. I probably will do the Guardian of Light as well, which I think is really good actually. It's a really good game, even though it's not really in the same style as the normal Tomb Raider games. And there has actually been quite a lot of talk about the new Tomb Raider at the moment. Some big news is that they're going to be adding a multiplayer mode. Tomb Raider's really never had multiplayer mode. Fans of the series will know that, or anybody that sort of knows of Tomb Raider will know that. But so there's been a lot of talk, does it need it, and is it a good idea? And a lot of people sort of said it's trying to copy Uncharted, because from what I can understand, I did read an article briefly on it, there's a few game modes on it, and I think one of them is Team Deathmatch, and it sounded like a lot of modes similar to Uncharted. There are some modes that do, it does sound good, but then the problem with multiplayer is you always hope that they take the main story seriously, because I know a lot of people just like single player games and some people like multiplayer games. I'm a bit of both. I like multiplayer and I like the single player. Sometimes I like the single player more than I do the online, but then sometimes when you finish a game you want more from it, so it's always good to have online. But then sometimes you don't really want to be playing online, you just rather play the story your way. So but I like the idea of it, but I don't know if it's going to be a good idea for Tomb Raider. Something I actually want to try and do if I can. I know I don't get a lot of views, so it's going to be really hard. But I think the question I want to do sort of like a question of the well, I don't always do a daily video. I tend to do one within like a couple of weeks or once a week. So what I'm going to do is the question of the video. So I was just going to ask, what is your thought on the multiplayer aspect? Do you think it's a good thing for Tomb Raider or not? So do feel free to leave your comments on that. And also, for Tomb Raider 3, if there's any levels anybody would specifically like to see, do feel free to leave that in the comment section. I'll see if I can get that level done. I kind of don't want to do the later on levels that spoil the story. I know it's a really old game, but some people might want to have a look at it. And with them, a lot of the Tomb Raiders that you can get now digitally, it's easy to get hold of now. So that's why I think people would like to play them again. But I think multiplayer might be interesting. But I think I can see whether it's like Uncharted's come from, because I think, well, Tomb Raider and Uncharted have been very similar games. I think the idea is to say it's sort of similar, but I think they're very different. They're very similar in that they're both of the games see you going after treasure, but I think with Uncharted it's more about the story and the characters, whereas Tomb Raider is more about the gameplay. Well, I say that Uncharted does, it is about the gameplay, but what I mean is it's more about what's. I mean, the characters are very and the story are very important to Uncharted, whereas I think the characters in Tomb Raider haven't been massively important. I don't know. I mean, the later games, it feels like you could get away with not having any story to it sometimes, but I think what with Lara Croft, she was really one of the first action characters that were female. I think. Well, I mean, there were games that were earlier than Tomb Raider, like Streets of Rage, that had female characters in, but I think Lara Croft was probably one of the first sort of starring characters in an action game, which, if I remember correctly, it was quite rare. So I think that's where her appeal really has been. Well, there's other appeals as well. Um, I think we can all imagine, but I think that's really what the big thing with her was. And now that there's more and more characters that are female in action games and that are starring characters, I think that she's kind of lost that appeal. And I think they did say that they wanted to reboot the game because they felt Lara had no personality, which I think she did. But I think where there were so many similar types of games, as I said, that she kind of got drowned out. I don't know really where to go with that. I mean, I don't think she did have a personality. I don't know. I really did enjoy Underworld, so I don't think it was a bad game at all. But I know a lot of people did. But I don't know where to go with that really because, as I said, I enjoyed it, but I don't think the story wasn't massively outstanding. I think it was more the gameplay was fun. So I think that's really. And I think if you look at Uncharted, the story's been really enjoyable and the gameplay as well. So, but I think the characters in Uncharted are more likable characters. So I think that's really what they're trying to reboot. And I mucked that up. And what I'm trying to show here is because there's only one artifact in. Is it artifact? Yeah. No, I think it's relics. I think the artifacts are the ones that unlock the costumes. Because in the next level, I made a huge muck up because I forgot where the artifact was, and I remembered where it was because part of the fourth level is actually the third level area is open in the fourth level, so you can go back. And I didn't realise that once you've gone completed level 3, the door to the fourth bit's locked and the artifact disappears. But I will show you where it is if I'm correct. I do have the strategy guide. I've never used it actually, but I do have it. So I will just check with that before I do show it. But I think it is in. I do remember it being there, so hopefully I'm right on that. I actually have been thinking about doing some guide videos. I think with a lot of guide videos, when people are showing you where things are, they just quickly show you and don't show you sort of how to get it. But I think that would not be a good idea for me because I would take ages to get. It'd take ages to find one bit really. So I'm not sure if that's something I really want to. And I don't really like doing like things that a lot of people are doing because I don't like sort of stepping on other people's toes really. Though I suppose what I'm doing now is like that. But I think each person's got their own style, haven't they, really? So I think that's what makes it great. And that wasn't great. I was trying to actually land in the water, but that kind of backfired. I'm actually surprised she didn't die from that height, but oh well, I ain't going to complain. I think really what I'm going to try and sort of do with my videos this year is I'm going to try and do different. Well, I'm going to still continue on with my 10 years on series. I'm going to be doing games from 2003. But this year I'm going to try and change it because I think last year it kind of felt not rushed, but it was a bit all over the place and it wasn't in the exact months and dates. And I think I found, well, I don't know, I didn't find it confusing because I knew when it came out, but I think for a lot of people it might have been confusing really. So I'm going to try and do it more nearer the time they're released because the first game that I'm going to be doing from 2003 is Devil May Cry 2. And luckily I've still got that from when I bought it in 2004. So That's the first game I'm going to be doing. It fits perfectly because Devil May Cry is out this week coming. It's out on the 15th if I'm correct, which is a Tuesday, which is kind of unusual because games don't normally come out till Friday in the UK and I think the rest of Europe. So that's going to be interesting. So I might try and do it for Monday actually. If not, I will do it because I think it came out on the 25th of January 2003 originally. So if I don't do it for next week, I'll do it for the week after. I'll do it on the 25th. There's a lot of games that I thought come out later in 2003, but actually didn't. I do have the majority of games from 2003 still, so that's something I'm going to be continuing. There's a lot of games from 5 years ago that I really enjoyed as well coming up, so I'm going to be looking at maybe doing a 5 years on series as well. But a lot of the games that are out weren't out till like later in the year, and I really just remembering them. I actually really want to play them again. So I might just sort of do that, but I'll see how that goes. And the other thing I think I've always got a lot of views from is reviews of demos and DLC. Problem with that for me though is that in the UK and the rest of Europe, I think I'm not too sure, but I think Europe and well, I know the UK is in Europe. But I think our store update is pretty much the same as Europe, so we don't get the demos till Wednesday, whereas America gets it on the Tuesday, so it's kind of annoying. Mainly on PlayStation, it's not so much of a problem on Xbox. Though on Xbox, if you're not a gold user, you can't get the demo to the next week, which is a pain in the backside. I don't really get why. I get why they do that. It's to get people subscribing, but I think it's not a clever idea if you want someone to buy the game because you'll think, well, I can't be bothered with that. I mean, some people get like that, some people don't. I don't think it's a massive majority of people get like that. I think if you want to have a look at the game, you'll wait. But so that's always a bit of a problem. See, the thing is, I know you're probably thinking, well, why don't I just subscribe to Gold? The reason I don't subscribe to Gold, from when I've had trials and that, there's nothing that really stands out for me. I mean, I think the servers are slightly better. I don't actually know this full extent of that, but I've always felt that it's very similar to PlayStation Network. So that's the reason I've never really bothered with the Gold subscription, to be honest. So that's why I do not subscribe to Gold, really. Excuse me. So I'm going to try and get some demos done and DLC, but I think, obviously people are going to be able to do that before me, because by the time I've downloaded the demo or the DLC, depending on how big it is, it's usually, and by the time I've had a chance to play it, it's pretty much Thursday, so it's 2 days before people have got it in America can get it, and a lot of people have put stuff up about it already, so it's annoying, but I still think it's good to get a range of opinions on it, so I probably will continue with some of that, and I'll try and do it on some stuff I'm not so familiar with, like games that I don't really know a lot about, because really last year, I think the last demo video I did was Devil May Cry, which I've played all the Devil May Crys, so I know a lot about it, and it's something I know well about, and I think this year I might do it on other things, because I think just doing about things I like, it'd be nice to do some videos that games I'm not too sure on, and other people might like, so that's something I'm going to be looking at. But other than that, I think I'm pretty much going to do all the same things as I did last year, really. Some of the series I started last year I might not finish. I might just start anew. I've been thinking about finishing off Tony Hawk 4 though, because it was I was really enjoying it, but I just totally forgot about it. And Parasite Eve as well. But this video is sort of drawing to the close now, so I'm just going to sort of wrap it up. This bit I remember wasn't is very different, because I remember there was a bear at the end, and there was like 2 levels, and there's a swimming pool, and you had to put a key in a door. But that's changed now, so because this corridor just leads straight into the Lost Valley, if I'm right. Excuse me. And the Lost Valley, I'm probably going to put up tomorrow, because I filmed it all in one go. And what's great about my new DVD recorder is it records more than an hour. I recorded 2 films, so it's got Freeview as well. I managed to record 2 films on a DVD the other day, and I was well chuffed with that. So I may be able to do a longer games like Final Fantasy in that. So that's really great news with that, because I can record for a really long time. And I probably could with the other one, but it would just been a lot of hassle to keep fiddling about with discs. So yeah, that's going to be really great. But that's pretty much the end for this video. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you'll join me for the next part.